Warning, viewer discretion advised. This video contains content that may be disturbing or triggering to some viewers. It includes detailed descriptions of violent crimes, graphic imagery, and discussions of sensitive topics such as murder, assault, and other criminal activities. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. If you are sensitive to such content, please consider watching another video. Stay safe and take care of your mental health. In this poignant episode, we delve into the tragic case of Jill Meagher, a 29-year-old Irish woman whose life was brutally taken in Melbourne, Australia. Join us as we uncover the events of that fateful night in September 2012, the intense investigation that followed, and the pursuit of justice that brought her killer to account. Through detailed narrative and expert insights, we explore the profound impact of Jill's murder on her family, friends, and the wider community, and the lasting changes it prompted in Australia's legal system. This episode honors Jill's memory and underscores the ongoing fight against violence towards women. When a night out in Melbourne took a dark turn, the disappearance of Jill Meagher sparked a nationwide outcry and a relentless pursuit of justice. In this episode, we explore the tragic and harrowing case of Jill Meagher, a 29-year-old Irish woman whose life was brutally taken in Melbourne, Australia. On the night of September 21, 2012, Jill went out for a night with friends in the vibrant suburb of Brunswick, only to never return home. What started as an ordinary evening out turned into a nightmare that gripped a nation and sparked widespread outrage. Jill Meagher's disappearance and the subsequent investigation captivated the public and shone a spotlight on issues of safety and justice. Her story is one of heartbreak and resilience, a chilling reminder of the dangers that can lurk in our communities. In this episode, we'll take you through Jill's life, the events of that fateful night, the exhaustive search that ensued, and the relentless pursuit of justice that followed. Join us as we recount the details of this devastating case, examining the impact it had on Jill's loved ones and the broader community, and reflecting on the changes it prompted in legal practices concerning parole and offender monitoring in Australia. This is a story that needs to be told, to honor Jill Meagher's memory and to highlight the ongoing fight against violence towards women. Jill Meagher was born on October 30, 1982, in Drogheda, Ireland. She grew up in a loving family and was known for her warm, vivacious personality. Jill had a natural charm and a quick wit that endeared her to everyone she met. Her upbringing in Ireland was marked by a close-knit family environment, which instilled in her strong values and a sense of community. In her early 20s, Jill met Tom Meagher, an Australian man who would later become her husband. Their relationship blossomed, and they were soon inseparable. After marrying, Jill and Tom decided to start a new chapter of their lives together in Melbourne, Australia. The move was both exciting and daunting, but Jill embraced the adventure with her characteristic enthusiasm and positivity. In Melbourne, Jill quickly adapted to her new surroundings and began building a life with Tom. She secured a position at the Australian Broadcasting Corporation, ABC, where she worked as a unit manager. Jill was well liked by her colleagues, who appreciated her dedication, professionalism, and cheerful demeanor. Her career at the ABC was flourishing, and she took pride in her work. Outside of work, Jill enjoyed exploring Melbourne's vibrant cultural scene. She had a passion for the arts, loved attending festivals, and was an avid reader. Jill and Tom made the most of their new home, creating a life filled with love, laughter, and shared experiences. They formed a close circle of friends and were well regarded by their community. Jill's life in Melbourne seemed idyllic, but it was tragically cut short on the night of September 21, 2012. That evening, Jill went out with friends to enjoy a night in the Brunswick area, a suburb known for its lively bars and cafes. Little did she know, this ordinary night out would lead to a devastating chain of events that would shock the nation and change her family's lives forever. As we delve deeper into this case, we will uncover the harrowing details of that night, the tireless investigation that followed, and the quest for justice that sought to bring Jill's killer to account. But before we do, it is essential to remember Jill Meagher not just for her tragic end, but for the vibrant, loving person she was and the indelible mark she left on those who knew her. On the evening of September 21, 2012, Jill Meagher went out with friends to unwind after a busy week. They chose to meet in Brunswick, a lively suburb of Melbourne known for its eclectic mix of bars, restaurants, and cafes. The area was familiar to Jill and her friends, a popular spot for social gatherings and nights out. The group enjoyed their time together, catching up over drinks at Bar Etiquette, one of their favorite local haunts. The mood was light, filled with laughter and conversation. As the night progressed, Jill decided it was time to head home. She left the bar around 1:30 a.m., bidding her friends goodbye. The walk to her apartment was short, just under a kilometer, and Jill felt comfortable making the journey alone, as she had done many times before. Unbeknownst to Jill, a predator was lurking in the shadows. Adrian Ernest Bailey, a man with a long history of violent offenses, was on the prowl that night. Bailey had already spent significant time in prison for previous crimes, but was out on parole. As Jill walked along Sydney Road, Bailey spotted her and began following her. The last known footage of Jill captured her walking past a bridal shop, just minutes from her home. She paused briefly, possibly to check her phone, before continuing down the dimly lit street. This moment, caught on CCTV, would later become a crucial piece of evidence in the investigation. As Jill made her way down the street, Bailey approached her. What exactly transpired in those next few moments remains partially obscured, but it is known that Bailey quickly overpowered Jill and dragged her into a nearby laneway. There, he assaulted her before forcing her into his car and driving her to a more secluded location. Despite her valiant efforts to resist and escape, Jill was brutally raped and strangled by Bailey. Her body was then buried in a shallow grave on the outskirts of Melbourne, a tragic end to what should have been a safe journey home. When Jill did not return home that night, her husband Tom immediately grew concerned. By morning, he contacted friends and family, hoping someone had heard from her. As hours passed without any word from Jill, Tom reported her missing to the police, setting off a massive search operation. The initial stages of the investigation focused on piecing together Jill's last known movements. Friends and family rallied, distributing flyers and making public appeals for information. The discovery of Jill's handbag in a laneway near where she was last seen heightened fears that something terrible had happened. Public concern escalated as the media picked up the story, broadcasting Jill's image and details of her disappearance across the nation. The sense of urgency grew, with the community holding its breath, hoping for her safe return. Days later, the review of CCTV footage provided the breakthrough investigators needed. They identified Bailey and, with this crucial piece of evidence, moved swiftly to apprehend him. During interrogation, Bailey confessed to the heinous crime, leading police to the site where he had buried Jill's body. The discovery confirmed the worst fears of Jill's family, friends, and the community. The shock and grief were palpable, as the reality of her brutal murder set in. The night of September 21 had transformed from a typical evening out into a nightmare that left a permanent scar on all who knew Jill Meagher. When Jill Meagher didn't return home on the night of September 21, 2012, her husband, Tom, immediately sensed something was wrong. By morning, his concern turned into alarm, and he contacted their friends and family, hoping someone had heard from her. With no news and growing dread, Tom reported Jill missing to the police, setting off a frantic search. The police quickly launched an investigation, recognizing the urgency of the situation. They began by piecing together Jill's last known movements. Friends and family distributed flyers and used social media to spread the word, hoping to generate leads. The discovery of Jill's handbag in a laneway near where she was last seen added a chilling clue but also deepened the mystery. Public concern escalated rapidly as the media picked up the story. News outlets broadcasted Jill's image and details of her disappearance across the nation. The community, galvanized by fear and solidarity, held its breath, hoping for her safe return. Detectives focused their efforts on reviewing CCTV footage from the area. This painstaking task soon paid off. Video from a bridal shop on Sydney Road showed Jill walking past, then pausing briefly, possibly to check her phone. Shortly after, the footage captured a man following her. This crucial clue was the breakthrough the investigators needed. The man in the footage was identified as Adrian Ernest Bailey, a local resident with a history of violent crimes. Bailey was on parole at the time, having served time for previous offenses. The police moved quickly, apprehending him at his home on September 27, 2012, less than a week after Jill's disappearance. During the interrogation, Bailey initially denied any involvement. However, faced with mounting evidence, including the damning CCTV footage, he eventually confessed to the crime. Bailey admitted to attacking Jill, assaulting her, and then driving her to a secluded location where he brutally raped and murdered her. He led the police to a shallow grave where he had buried Jill's body in Gisborne South, about 50 kilometers from Melbourne. The discovery of Jill's body confirmed the worst fears of her family and friends. The community, already on edge, was now engulfed in grief and outrage. The police held a press conference to announce the grim findings, expressing their condolences to Jill's family and vowing to bring her killer to justice. The investigation revealed troubling details about Bailey's criminal history and raised serious questions about the parole system. Bailey had a long record of violent sexual offenses and had been deemed a high risk of reoffending. His release on parole and the subsequent lack of monitoring became points of intense scrutiny and public debate. As the case moved towards trial, the police and prosecutors worked tirelessly to build a strong case against Bailey. The thorough investigation, combined with Bailey's confession and the physical evidence, ensured that justice would be served for Jill Meagher. The swift and determined efforts of the investigators not only brought a dangerous predator to justice but also highlighted systemic issues in the criminal justice system, prompting calls for reform. Jill's tragic death became a catalyst for change, as the community demanded better protection and accountability to prevent such horrors from happening again. This exhaustive investigation showcased the dedication of law enforcement and the power of community solidarity in the face of unspeakable tragedy. As we continue to explore this case, we will delve into the trial of Adrian Bailey and the lasting impact of Jill Meagher's story on her family, friends, and the broader community. The trial of Adrian Ernest Bailey for the rape and murder of Jill Meagher was a significant and highly publicized event, drawing intense media coverage and widespread public interest. As the case moved towards trial, the focus was on ensuring that justice would be served for Jill and her grieving family. The prosecution, led by the Office of Public Prosecutions, meticulously prepared their case against Bailey. They presented a strong body of evidence, including the critical CCTV footage, Bailey's own confession, and various pieces of physical evidence. The prosecution aimed to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Bailey was responsible for the heinous crimes committed against Jill. On April 5, 2013, Bailey appeared in the Supreme Court of Victoria and pleaded guilty to the charges of rape and murder. His guilty plea meant that a lengthy trial was avoided, but it also provided a measure of relief to Jill's family, who were spared the ordeal of a protracted courtroom battle. However, the plea did not lessen the severity of the crimes or the demand for justice. During the sentencing hearing, the court heard harrowing details about the night of Jill's murder. The prosecution recounted the brutal attack, the terror Jill must have experienced, and the callousness with which Bailey had acted. They also highlighted Bailey's extensive criminal history, which included multiple convictions for rape and violent assaults. The defense, in contrast, presented mitigating factors, including Bailey's troubled upbringing and mental health issues, but these arguments did little to sway the court's view of his culpability. The presiding judge, Justice Jeffrey Nettle, delivered a powerful and emotional sentencing. He described Bailey's actions as savage and depraved and acknowledged the profound impact of Jill's death on her family, friends, and the broader community. Justice Nettle sentenced Bailey to life imprisonment with a minimum non-parole period of 35 years for the murder charge, alongside concurrent sentences for the rape charges. This sentence ensured that Bailey would spend a significant portion of his life behind bars, unable to harm anyone else. The sentencing provided a sense of closure for Jill's family and friends, though it could never truly compensate for their loss. The trial and its outcome also prompted widespread reflection on the criminal justice system, particularly regarding the management and monitoring of repeat offenders. Jill's case became a catalyst for change, leading to reforms aimed at improving the parole system and enhancing community safety. In the wake of the trial, there was a collective effort to remember Jill Meagher not just for the tragedy of her death, but for the vibrant, loving person she was. Vigils and memorials were held, and a foundation was established in her name to support initiatives aimed at preventing violence against women. The trial of Adrian Bailey underscored the importance of a robust and just legal system, the need for vigilance in monitoring dangerous offenders, and the enduring impact of one woman's life and legacy on her community. It was a reminder of the profound consequences of violence and the collective responsibility to strive for a safer, more compassionate society. The aftermath of Jill Meagher's tragic death reverberated deeply throughout Australia and beyond, prompting a collective outpouring of grief, anger, and a demand for change. The brutal nature of her murder and the subsequent trial of Adrian Bailey brought to light critical issues within the criminal justice system, particularly concerning the management and monitoring of repeat violent offenders. Following Bailey's conviction, there was an immediate and widespread call for reforms. The public was outraged that a man with Bailey's extensive criminal history had been free on parole at the time of the attack. This outrage spurred significant scrutiny of the parole system and highlighted the need for more stringent measures to protect the community from dangerous individuals. In response to the public outcry, the Victorian government undertook a comprehensive review of the parole system. Key changes were implemented, including stricter criteria for granting parole to violent offenders, improved monitoring of parolees, and increased resources for law enforcement agencies tasked with supervising high-risk individuals. These reforms aimed to close the gaps that had allowed Bailey to remain free despite his history of violent behavior. Jill's family, particularly her husband Tom Meagher, became vocal advocates for these reforms. Tom channeled his grief into activism, working tirelessly to ensure that Jill's death would lead to meaningful change. He spoke publicly about the need for a justice system that prioritizes the safety and well-being of potential victims over the rehabilitation of offenders, particularly those with a proven propensity for violence. The community also rallied in support of Jill's legacy. Thousands of people participated in public vigils and marches, such as the Peace Walk in Brunswick, to honor Jill and to stand against violence towards women. These events were not only a testament to Jill's impact on her community but also a powerful statement of solidarity and a call for societal change. In addition to these reforms and public demonstrations, Jill's death had a profound impact on the broader conversation about violence against women. Her story became a symbol of the urgent need to address and prevent gender-based violence. Educational campaigns and initiatives were launched to raise awareness, promote safety, and support victims of such crimes. The Jill Meagher Foundation was established in her memory, dedicated to preventing violence against women and supporting survivors. The foundation works to educate the public, advocate for policy changes, and provide resources for those affected by violence. Through these efforts, Jill's legacy continues to inspire positive action and change. In the years following Jill's death, her family, friends, and community have worked to keep her memory alive. While the pain of her loss remains, the collective efforts to ensure that her death was not in vain have led to significant progress in the fight against violence and the quest for justice. Jill Meagher's story, though tragic, has sparked a movement that strives to create a safer, more compassionate society. This lasting impact is a testament to Jill's life and the love she inspired in those around her. Her legacy serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of vigilance, the necessity of systemic change, and the enduring strength of a community united in the face of tragedy. The story of Jill Meagher is one of profound loss, but it is also one of hope and transformation. It is a testament to the power of community, the importance of vigilance, and the unwavering pursuit of justice. Jill's memory will forever serve as a beacon of the enduring fight against violence and the ongoing effort to protect and uplift those most vulnerable. Jill Meagher's tragic death serves as a powerful reminder of the urgent need to address violence against women and to ensure the safety and security of our communities. As we reflect on her story, it's crucial to channel our grief and outrage into meaningful action. Here are several ways you can contribute to this vital cause. 1. Support legislation and reform. Advocate for stronger laws and policies that protect individuals from violent offenders. Support initiatives aimed at reforming the parole system to ensure that repeat offenders are closely monitored and held accountable. 2. Raise awareness. Share Jill Meagher's story and others like it to raise awareness about the prevalence of violence against women. Use social media, community events, and educational platforms to spread the message and encourage others to join the fight against violence. 3. Donate to relevant organizations. Contribute to organizations that work to prevent violence against women and support survivors. The Jill Meagher Foundation, for instance, is dedicated to these causes and can use your financial support to continue its important work. 4. Participate in community initiatives. Get involved in local efforts to promote safety and support victims. Attend vigils, participate in peace walks, and volunteer with organizations that provide resources and assistance to those affected by violence. 5. Educate yourself and others. Learn about the signs of domestic and sexual violence, and educate others in your community. Knowledge is a powerful tool in preventing violence and supporting survivors. Consider hosting workshops, discussions, or training sessions to spread this knowledge. 6. Advocate for victims. Stand with victims of violence by offering your support and advocating for their rights. Ensure they have access to the necessary legal, medical, and psychological resources to recover and seek justice. 7. Promote a culture of respect and safety. Work towards creating a society where respect, consent, and safety are paramount. Challenge harmful behaviors and attitudes that perpetuate violence, and promote values of equality and respect in your everyday interactions. 8. Support mental health initiatives. Recognize the link between mental health and violence, and support initiatives that provide mental health resources and interventions. Early support and treatment can be crucial in preventing violent behavior. By taking these actions, we can honor Jill Meagher's memory and work towards a world where such tragedies are prevented. Every effort counts, and together, we can make a significant impact in the fight against violence and in promoting a safer, more compassionate society. Remember, change starts with each one of us. Let Jill Meagher's story be a catalyst for your involvement in this crucial cause. Your voice, your actions, and your support can help ensure that her legacy lives on and that future generations can live in a world free from violence. Thank you for joining us for this episode on the tragic story of Jill Meagher. If you found this episode meaningful, Please take a moment to like, subscribe, and share our podcast. Your support helps us continue to tell important stories and raise awareness about critical issues. We also value your feedback and thoughts, so please leave a comment and let us know what you think. Your engagement helps us improve and bring you more content that matters. Stay tuned for more episodes, and thank you for being part of our community. Together, we can make a difference.